Hey, I'm Scotty, and in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to sketch this tricky angled portrait in a really easy step-by-step way. So we're going to be sketching this reference from observation, which means we start out with the big shapes and we're not looking for perfection, we're just looking for an impression of this person. But the first step is really important if you want to set up a little bit of structure. So step number one, we're going to add this structure to the page. So place, right in the middle of your page, place just a little light dot. You can hardly see it. Now, this is going to be the center point for that circle. So we'll go up and put that top dot on the circle there, and then come down that same height down to here. So those two should be equal to the middle. Now that same distance we had there, let's go across. And we go over that same distance to the left, and that's roughly a circle. Now the next step is to outline those main shapes that I was talking about. So what we can do here is outline the hair on the right, because that's a huge shape to start with, and I always like starting with somewhere on the top. Okay, so what we're going to do is just go from here to here, around there, around the hair. So coming at here, we're just going around here, there might be a bit of hair here, and coming around there, and have a little bit of variance like that. Okay, we get down to there. Now, the hair comes down to about there. So I'm just looking at the two dots. It's almost that the halfway from that circle is doubled down, and you come across below that dot. So you can put a dot like that, but we don't want to draw straight down because hair has a nice flow to it. So let's have a bit of a flow, and then at that point, that's where that shoulder is. Okay, so you can draw now that little shoulder. And where does the shoulder come? It comes out at this angle. What angle does it come out? Like that. Let's go down the side of the hair here. So let's do that. Start here. We're just cutting right across the circle. Give it that wave. There's two waves. And then now it's almost parallel with that line. So let's draw that line like that. We really want to find this face shape. That's the biggest challenge, to get the angle in that face shape. So we've got this up here. That's the top of the face, and we want to find where the chin is, because when we get the chin, then later we can divide the face up and put all those features in. So I know that this chin from the reference is about equal to that dot. That's where the corner of the ear is and where the jaw goes in, and it also goes past this. You can see that dot there goes out from there a bit and down, a little line there, and that should be where the chin is. Okay, so now we want to outline this face shape. So see on this, the arc of the circle we have on the reference, it's out where the circle would be. It's about there. Put a little dot there. That's going to be your forehead there, so let's connect that up like this. Okay, that's the forehead. And then it comes down, and just above the dot we can see there's a little scoop there for the eye, and drawing that up. There can be little gaps in the line, that's okay. Now from this point, which is just above that dot on the side, let's connect that down to the chin. So a little curve on the face there like that, and then let's just a slight curve down to this point. Okay, someone on Patreon asked me about making a face look more feminine. Now this point here is really important to get that jawline right. So as we come in, some things I'm thinking about is how small that chin is. It can't be too square, like a chin or wide chin. It has to be a little bit more pointed. And you can see on how I've drawn that line how much of a V shape it is. It has a nice V shape, and just at the end here it curves. So even a subtle change to that to make it wider or more square can make it look more masculine. Okay, so let's draw the chin then after all that. Okay, so there's a pointy chin, this line, and then a curve up towards that ear. And then we can draw a little bit of the ear in there. If you've drawn the hair too much, or if it don't fit, just go through the hair like that. Okay, now we have the face shape. So let's draw the neck now. The best way I think with this version is we're going to look at that length there, that width. So the neck is past halfway towards the chin. So if I go to halfway and then I go across a little bit, I'll be there. Okay, now we've got that shape, and now the hair, we have to come in under the ear like this and chop in there a bit, because we don't want too much neck showing there, I don't think. Let's draw the hair that's above the face, and if you'd like to, you can add a few strands, but I might leave just simple like that. And then underneath, let's show that there's some hair coming out this way. Let's draw some hair there too. And the way I draw hair is that I go out, then I double back on the line, and sometimes that looks really nice as hair. Now I'm going to do this collar here, which comes down, this shape here. I imagine she's actually got a necklace there. So if it comes in here like this, I'm going to add something like that. Now what about the shoulder? And then just draw a line like that, just to show the width of the body there. And then from the chin down, we've got some more hair. And then you'll be able to see the hair coming around the back behind the chin. Okay, we have all the main shapes. We've got to move into the details. And we'll start with the face because that's the hardest bit. Now, if you've been doing tutorials with me, you know I love to use dots. And so the face is no different. We're going to divide the face up. In a Loomis method, and I'll show on the screen now, we have to split the face up into 3 sections, from the hairline to the chin. And there's this circle on the side, but the way I simplify it, to make it easier, and do it with pen as well, so you don't have to draw any lines if you don't want to do that, you come down a third. So if I break the face up into 3, you come down a third, and then we put the 2 dots between the eyebrows. So one here, and one here. So we've got to try and ignore that little dot we used on the side, and we come down another third at that angle we talked about. It's quite close there, and we should be able to divide the face up. Now we do the eyebrows, that same angle I'm thinking, so it should come down to, so now what I'm going to do is draw a thin eyebrow here. So from here, a little bit of a curve off to the side, and then another one like that. So a little eyebrow like that. And this one angles like this. There's your 2 eyebrows. Now we'll go down to the nose. So with the nose, we start out by drawing the width of the nose before we do the other bits. So we'll start on the right here, and we draw there's a little dark section there, and it goes up, comes back in a little bit. And then on the other side, you can't see the other side, so what we're going to draw is imagining that's the side of the other side of the nose, behind the point of the nose, and it comes up to about, I'm just going to look at the reference, and it's above this point, so maybe it comes to about there. So let's draw that end of the nose. And then back, just happens to be where the other dot is, close. So then you've got the 2 sides of the nose like that. Now I recommend going back and seeing if you can get that bridge, the top of the bridge in the nose. So draw that in, and then you can link that up. I'm going to leave a little bit of a gap between the line. Then we want to draw the nostril. So with the nostril, we don't draw circles, we draw just the top line. So we'll start on this side, and we draw one line like that, and then a second line, and that's the basic nose. We don't want to do too much. So now we have the face structure. Now we want to do the eyes and the mouth now. Between the eyebrows and the bottom of the nose, we go up 2/3, and that is the corner of the eye. So I'm just looking at that. That's there. Looking at my reference. Okay, that's about there. And then we go across the same width as the nose, or the same width of that gap between the eyebrows. We go up, keeping that angle. Okay, so her corner of the eye, the other corner of the eye is a bit past the nose. And then that width that we had, we go across again. And then the other eye, if I come straight up that, follow those other dots, should come to about there. Okay, so now we have 4 dots for the eyes, and we can easily link them up again. See how big her eye is. It comes up to about here at this angle. Okay, so draw, as we did with the nostril almost, same thing, we draw one line going up, and then one curved line going down to that dot. See, like that. Same on the other one. We have one line going up. It's almost that curve following the sphere of the eyeball there. And then one going down like that. If you get it wrong, just draw a little slightly lower line or higher line. Just trying to get the same line as the other one. And then if you draw 2 lines there, I recommend drawing 2 lines. And she's already got that second flap there where that dark makeup is. So we can draw another line here. It's good to match them. We can also add on the bottom here, because this is a portrait that's a bit closer up, got more detail. Under the eye here, we can see that curve there, the eyeball. I'm going to make that curve shape. Let's put in that line there. Give it a nice curve, and on this side, a little curve. And in here might have a little line there for where the eyeball stops. That's the corner of the eye just there. Now, one of the most tricky parts is to do the iris. We're getting down to the details that matter the most. So what we want to do, we can see that it's almost like a little oval in the corner. Look at the white. How much does iris take up of the white of the eye? That line on the right of the iris here, like this, just like this. Okay. And then maybe make it a bit more obvious on the other side. It comes to like that. Okay, now that same angle, we'll try and keep that same angle of the iris. Looking at that line, and then here on this side, do the same thing. And we might need to make it smaller. So one of the hardest bit of this tutorial is going to be getting the eye looking like it's looking away. Hopefully you can follow these steps and it's easy to do. Now, so I've got the eyes there, Now you can add some more details as much as you like. I don't usually add too much, but here I like the eyelashes at the bottom there, the pupil in the middle. So just right in the middle, add a bit of a pupil there, a bit of a dark each side. Like that. Then she's got those dark, I don't even know what it is, like a paint on her top eyelid, down to the mouth. So same with the eye, how we went up 2/3. When we go down to the mouth, between the chin and the bottom of the nose, we go up 1. It's about there. And then we look at the reference. It's always past the nose, but when it's angled, the mouth is different. It's going to not line up exactly with the nose. So we can see this corner of the mouth is actually in line with the top of the nose there, but this corner is slightly coming out because coming around the face. So what I do is go up 2/3, 1, and then go exactly below that dot that we had before. So 1, 2, and then that's about the corner of the mouth there. And then we go across to the other side, that same angle as we're following all the other features, and we've got to put a little dot there. It's just 45 degrees from that. It comes out. Now have a look back. Would that make sense? I feel that I put the dot a bit too high, so I'm going to bring it in. Okay, now when we do the lips, we focus on the split between the lips first. So we're not going to outline the outline of the lips. So now let's just make one line curving from the to here, and then draw the second bit of the mouth curving to here. Then the second most important line is that line below the bottom lip. So just get that width. It's almost the width of the nose there, and make sure it's still at that angle. So like that. And they can curve slightly up. And then at the top lip, especially with a female, I emphasize the lips a little bit more, and we add just where that little point was where we were trying to make the line go to. Add a little line like that. We can add some freckles to the face. You've got lots of freckles. Now you can do freckles with the watercolor, but when this one, I think I'll try just with the pen. So just around here, not putting too much. Okay, and now we can get more into the details around the face. So the hair here, we might add another line, or I might just fill that forehead shape like that, and then some more hair there, and then some more like this around there. And then I want to go past that ear there, so I'm adding a bit of detail there too. See how it flows around here. Okay, and then it comes up, goes down like this. Just showing the direction of the hair without adding too much. In behind there a bit more. So I make these straighter so they look more like the clothing. You can see she's wearing something under there. Okay, now we're going to add some watercolor. So I have my 10 round brush here and my Winsor & Newton watercolors, which I'll go through each color, and got some nice clean water up here. So what we're going to start off with is the face. So we can use burnt sienna. Okay, so let's start at the top, go way down. A little bit of white we see there, and then we'll come down this way, and this is this color here. And this is just roughly, we don't have to be light expert, just the idea on the side there that the light bouncing there. And as we come across, coming down against the hair, you can add a bit more and it will spread out. If you add too much water onto thin paper, you'll find it buckles and it doesn't work. Now the next shape I want to do is the clothing, because that's the biggest neck shape. And then with this sort of section, you want to be nice and expressive, and we don't want to just make it a block shape like a straight line. We want it to feeling of vibrancy. And so the way I do that sometimes is just fill the brush with the paint, and then we're sort of dabbing it on and slapping it on. And it doesn't matter if it goes outside the line or inside the line, it just has to give that general impression of the shape. See that? There's a bit of a gap there and it's all over the place. Over here we want a bit of light on this, so there might be dots there like that. And we'll let that dry and see what it looks like. And I'll just add a bit more just here. I won't touch the other color, just around here. Now I can see the face is starting to dry. So now I'm going to think about the hair. So this kind of red hair, we won't go straight red, but we'll start with the cadmium red, and then we'll add some yellow to it. With this wash, we're going to try a bit of a variegated wash. We're actually going to vary the color from the top to the bottom. So we're going to start off with that red, and as we come down, I'm going to add some rose to this mix, and so the color will change and make that really interesting. So starting from the top here like this, I was going to use my bigger brush for this one. Leave some white there, that's fine, because that's where the light is. And as we go down, we'll get a bit of the pink and add that in, and then those hair there, just a bit more interesting around the side like that. And you can paint that hair in where we didn't use the line work, we're using the and we can use that at the bottom too. And make sure this is dry. You don't want that going straight into your skin. What is probably going to happen right there. So, although sometimes it's fine. Lots of my sketches actually bleed-ins and it's just part of the sketch. Okay, so what I'm going to do is add a bit more red back, yellow. Now make sure your brush has a nice tip on the end, and doesn't even have to be within the lines, just you can add an extra one just where you think an impression of that hair would be. There's a lot close to the eye there. The cadmium red and some rose, and we're just going to go over these eyebrows. I'm just doing it a little bit more carefully because I don't want it suddenly to right down into the eye there. Okay, now while we're using rose, get a bit more rose at the top. So now we do the lips, and focus right in that middle lips, just there. Don't go to the edges like that. Just in the middle. Take some of the water out. Just in the middle. Focus on that bottom lip, and we can add a bit more. See, like that? We're not going right to the edge because it often looks wider than those point irises. So they look quite dark. So this is Payne's Grey. Bleed out. Put a bit on that one, and this one. And some of you I know like you like to use the pen to just make the whole iris black, and that's fine too. Can add just a little. I'm just adding a second layer of color just on top. So just the nose there. So we're going to add a shadows layer. Sometimes these little bits just add that fine detail that it needs. Freckles here, just a bit of texture. And if we get just a subtle bit of rose into that skin tone, the around the face is quite warm, just across here in the middle of the face. So usually that's warmer. So we can add, see that cheek there? Let's just top of that cheek, let's just add a bit like that. Add a very subtle on the nose as well. But as it dries it might come out a bit more, and a bit there. Now we can add a bit more saturation here, second layer. So get the cadmium red again. Just a bit of like dark. There might be a little bit down. We're going to add shadows, but this is just to this is just to emphasize that redness without making the hair all really red. You can also tap, but cover up your sketch and tap the end of your brush. And same with the blue. You could even grab a bit of ultramarine and change the colors. Now mostly just emphasizing that too. Could splatters if you're into splatters. Okay, the final layer of watercolor is the shadows. So with the reference, she has quite a dark section of shadows on this side, but with this kind of sketching, I feel like it might be better to lay off the shadows a little bit. So we'll add a really light layer of shadow. Put plenty of water in your palette for the shadow, but my style is to add a light purple. So that can be with ultramarine and rose if you don't have a purple, but I've added Purple Lake into my set. Dab it on my paper towel, and now just adding little bits here. And okay, so around the back where the head would come back, and usually these dry a little bit darker than they look first. And underneath the chin here, so just here, nice there. A little bit on this side, there. Wherever there's a really dark area, you can add perhaps just under the chin, and that'll help that chin to come out a little bit. Look, add that depth, so we can see that there's a shadow on the nose. So we'll go up from there like that. Perhaps a little bit up here, just under the hair. Okay, so using my Posca pen, PC1M, and we're going to be adding just a few little dots. Most of the highlights we've got here are actually done with the watercolor. You can see these nice little gaps here we've left around the outside. So we don't need to add too much. It's just areas just like on the end of the nose that you might put a little dot. There's a little highlight usually on the bottom lip where the light reflects there like that. You could add some highlights on the cheek. If there's an earring like she has here, we want some reflections in there. But generally the face doesn't have too many reflections on it. In the eye you can add a little glint if you like, but I don't think I'll risk that. Little glints into the hair here like this. You can add longer lines, and then jewelry. Okay, I'm really happy with the end result we have of this portrait. Please let me know how you found that way of sketching a portrait with the structure and then the main shapes. And also, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. As always, if you want the full version with the template and the reference so you can sketch along with me, which is the best way to learn to sketch, then check out my Patreon, and you can also vote in polls. You can post your sketches on the chat, the group chat, and share and discuss and encourage each other there. Otherwise, I've got another portrait tutorial on YouTube right here you can check out. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.